Matt On, and I'm here with Logan at the Rock Hill Trolley Museum. Our purpose today is we're going to give at least the 2743, former Philadelphia car, and hopefully Newark car number 6, a basic running inspection and maintenance today. We've gotten a later start, so we're not going to get through everything we'd like to do per se, but at least inspect the control equipment, clean the contactors, make sure everything is lubricated properly, and then test run the car. So in a nutshell, that's what we're going to do. We're still getting set up with the lights. You can see we put our out of service tags on the car. We will also cut out the barn power as well, just for safety. And from here we'll get started and explain more once we're under the car. This is what's called the master controller of a GE PCC car. Also, some have said your power and braking controller. And what you have is I'll start with the main fingers and explain the rest. You have your power side. These basically make up in terms of close and open in a sequence for the power circuit. Over here, these are your braking contactors. Okay, they open and close as well in a particular order. There's a cam that drives each one as this rotates based on the pedal position. The pedal rods are up here, and that makes or breaks the circuits. These, being low voltage, tend to oxidize. They don't burn clean periodically. They need to be cleaned. For example, Newark, once a month, would come in and just clean them. Very fine file crocus cloth. This is your shaft brake lockout relay. This functions that it locks out the shaft brakes until the dynamics fade out, or if the dynamics fail, it enables the shaft brakes to come on, so you still get a stop. That, as I recall, is your shaft brake resistor. That's your pilot motor resistor, and then something else here, probably the most critical piece. It's called your ABR, your accelerating and braking relay. This is a calibrated device. It has several coils. I think there's what's called 4 rheostats that make it up. This moves, you can see it. It moves as the cams move, and it sets the rate that the car can accelerate and brake. And there are minimums and maximums that have to be set. But this device, once it is set, and it can be bench set with the right equipment, it is locked in. In fact, these I can't tell, but most of these are set. Once the screws are set, they're often Loctited in place. You do not want to fool with this. But what you need to do periodically is clean the fingers there. So that's basically what we're looking at here, and a good preventative maintenance is to clean the contacts. We'll lube up the reverse fingers. They're just tight. Just a very fine coat of Vaseline just on the big fingers helps. And then work on other parts of the car. All right, so here we're going over the small contactors in the power and braking controller. But what we're doing is I have a real fine, like an ignition file for older cars. You can see, like here on the limit relay, they're a little cruddy. So just real light. It's not a matter of removing material as much as it is just shining them up a little bit. Like I was saying earlier to Logan, this was done fairly regularly, at least in most places. I understand Cleveland, Shaker Heights would do it regularly. Newark, it's in the maintenance book once a month. As part of a monthly inspection, the cars would get it. In fact, in car 6, there's still notes from the last person that did it marked in the cabinet. All right, so what we're doing, as I was saying earlier, is just a slight, if you want to say almost like a burnishing, a polishing. You can see this little cloth I have really does the job. There's just some corrosion up there, nothing major. And again, you don't want to take too much material off. Just enough fine material to just give them a good cleanup. Over the years, I've tried to keep up with this car and car number 6 and keep these clean. You know, it's not a major thing, but you can definitely tell the performance if the contactors are not clean, particularly on the braking side. One of the challenges here at Rock Hill is the cars aren't used much. They sit a long time, and these tips get oxidized pretty quick. They're low voltage, so they don't really, if you want to say, burn clean like a 600 volt circuit where you're drawing a lot of current through it. Here, in most cases, there's very minimal, and it's low voltage, so you're not getting these clean is important. Another thing to watch for is the wires. You'll see them very careful. In fact, in car 6 here, the wire bundle has in blue paint, do not file wires. And that was left there for the maintenance shop in Newark, because apparently someone had been filing without discretion and filing through wires, which causes all sorts of problems. How does it feel? Is it sticky? Maybe we'll just leave it alone. All right, go again. Go again. Center. try to just get a little when he's done. I gotta be careful because you get your fingers in there. Oh my gosh. Just put a little bit in each, a real slight, because you don't want, Vaseline holds grease bad.
Yeah.
Or holds dirt, but a tiny bit. You'll just see me put a dab. All right, what I'm gonna do next is I want you to watch your face. I'm gonna blow it out though before I Vaseline it, otherwise all the filth gets in the Vaseline. All right, Andrew, don't move it. And again, a cleaning, not a sandblasting. Good. All right. Now, if you could put your light right in there. Cool, because I'm going to just put a dab. Andrew, whatever you do not move the reverser. Another war. All right, neutral. Neutral. Reverse. Reverse. There you go. Now, forward. Forward. Neutral. Neutral. Reverse. Reverse. How's it feel? Do that. Go from where you're in reverse right now, right? Go neutral, go from reverse to neutral to forward, and back again. See it spin it around. That's exactly what I want. It's not too much.
Yeah.
Good, Andrew. All right, so under here, this cabinet under a GE car, GE All Electric, contains the majority of your 600 volt contactors. There's also low voltage at the bottom of the interlocks themselves. What we've done today is clean each of these, both the high voltage side and the low voltage contactors on the bottom. I've opened C2 contactor here, and basically you can see the contactor closes, and then it would open. This is your cushioning contactor. This is when the car starts. C1 closes first, and then C2 from memory. But these all get dirty over time. We've cleaned and blitzed them. We've blown them out. And I've removed the arc chute, which we also cleaned out to get the filth off it, just so you can see. Behind me is the KM. This is the motor controller for PCC. This device rotates through a series of 136 steps. In the forward position, or in the power position, I believe it's 272 in brake. We cleaned all the contact fingers in the KM. These are the KM fingers. We blue cleaned the KM resistors. There was one that was slightly bent. We straightened it. We blew out your some of these are your braking resistors, and on top of this set are your field shunts. We also cleaned those out today. So behind me, you have your MG closing contactor. It's out of the view here, but I'm pointing to it is your voltage regulator, which in these cars is solid state, which is a very nice, very nice improvement. And these are your, at least one of these is your MG starting resistor. So everything we've blown clean, service we need serviced. We're about done. I'll walk through the line breaker, show the front truck where we've greased, and then soon we'll be on a test ride. What I'm doing here is checking the brushes. You see I just moved the spring back slightly and just make sure the brush moves. Because I've already looked and I can see that there's enough length. You know, the brush holder is not in danger of striking the commutator. These brushes used with the PCC car. This is a GE motor. See, they have these shunt wires on them. One thing that can help, but you just have to be careful you can get it back together, is to relieve the tension. It's this lever here. If I were to slide it up and over as I've done, I've now taken the tension off that, and I can just check and I can see this brush will move. So, and I already cleaned it. That's on the video, but I sprayed it down with a good electrical cleaner. Of course, the power is secured. Then I move this back up the tensioner to where it was, which is the second notch. Double check everything's seated right. That's really all there is to it. We're getting towards the end here. We explained we did the power and braking controller, the high and low voltage contactors, and blew everything clean. We looked at the KM, cleaned that, made some adjustments. This is the line breaker. This makes or breaks the motoring circuit, hence its name. Conventional cars have a line breaker as well, so it's probably not foreign to a lot of people. What we did here was we took off the arc chute, which I don't want to go through again. It snaps off, but it's a little cumbersome. Blew it clean, made sure that was all cleaned of all debris, carbon, etc. We cleaned the contactors in the line breaker. We're just going to close it up, and then we'll go on to what we did with the trucks. We'll come up to the truck just briefly. Each truck, each motor has a series of grease fittings. Just as a sample, I'll point these to Andrew. There's a fitting up here for the motor bearings. There's a fitting on each of the drive shafts. We got those. There are, depending on which end the brake actuator's on, there are 2 fittings on the shaft brake mechanism. There's also a series of clevises on the shaft brake mechanism we already greased. We greased the brake actuators. There are 2 Zerk fittings on each of the Westinghouse actuators. We greased the links in the truck frame here. There's 1 on each end and 1 in the center. That about covered it for truck greasing. We're going to do the other truck before we wrap up. Here, Rock Hill Trolley Museum still uses Ohio brass shoes with carbon inserts. A lot of museums use wheels. The overhead, though, is configured here for shoes because the first car came with shoes, John 311. This is a worn shoe and carbon. It can be reused and should be. See, it's not below the wear line, but you have some slag buildup. The shoe itself is worn even with the carbon insert is worn even with the shoe, whereas this still has some carbon, will provide better lubrication. It's also a little banged up in here and chipped out. This one we can take, open it, pull the carbon out on a wire wheel, clean it up, get rid of the slag, make it look like this. This is one that was cleaned up. You can see the slag's gone. It's nice and smooth. Carbon insert. Now we're going to put it back in the harp.
We have had a successful day here at the Rock Hill Trolley Museum working on 2743. We're about to take it on a test run with FPT. If you want to see the test run, go to the next video or try to find it on Facebook.